You know that Uryu fella? Yeah, he's kind of fucked. Let's go. When this chapter began, for some reason, I really thought this was going to be the backstory of the Soul King. I thought we were diving into him because we were learning more about Juha Bach. Well, at the time, we didn't know who it was in the beginning. And it just described something that would sound like, oh, so this is how the Soul King came to be, where he's giving out pieces of his soul and restoring ligaments and all sorts of shit to different people. And then when they die, the power goes back to him. And I was like, yo, is this a Soul King? And that got me thinking after this chapter, could there be some sort of relation possibly from Juha Bach to the Soul King? Maybe Juha Bach is one of the Soul King's kids that he threw down to earth, and he was just like, yo, grow up by yourself or some shit like that. It really started making me think maybe there's some sort of relation to the Soul King, because something like that, that's, you know, a bit out there for him to have this sort of power. And it's like, I doubt Yamamoto had that. I doubt anybody else has had that. So it's automatically starting to connect some sort of pieces right there. Like, there's a possibility he's with the Soul King, or it could just be that he has some extreme radical ability. But one of the things that this kind of solidified with this chapter, when we get the stuff with ForneverWorld and Uryu, people pretty much die after they've been touched by Juha Bach, or they touch Juha Bach. And pretty much with him branding the symbol in Uryu is doomed. Since Uryu drank the blood of Juha Bach, he's pretty much branded now. Because it's also been explained that shortly after people who have touched or been touched by Juha Bach, you know, pretty much have this link with him, that they die shortly after. It's like, you know, it could be a few years, it could be a few months, it could even be a few days after. So Uryu is a marked man. He's pretty much marked for death now that he did that. And the funny thing is, like, I kind of called this a while back, and I think it was pretty obvious that he joined mainly to try to get revenge over the thing with his mother, and ForneverWorld called him out on his shit. So now Uryu must be frantic as hell. And to be honest with you, the only thing I could think of is either he has two things now he could do. He can either just serve this guy and pretty much, you know, go all the way in with this, which I don't think that's his plan anyway. So it's like, he's gonna die. If I know that I'm gonna die and I was going out for revenge, I'm gonna try my damnedest to get my revenge before my death. And for him to, like, you know, serve Juha Bach after now knowing that he's going to die, it's like, why would you bother going forward with that? Why would you continue like, oh, well, you know, I might as well serve him? No, if anything, that's going to be more of a motive, like, okay, I need to get my revenge, and he marked me for death. Now is the time to flip on him, and he's probably going to wait for the right opportunity and the right moment. And also, like, if his father finds out about this, I'd imagine his father, as cold as he seems, and a lot of times he's come, you know, across as pretty cold, I'd imagine he'll join in as well at some given point, because at the end of the day, that is his son. I mean, you can't be that much of a dick, or can he? For the most part, this chapter, that's mainly what it gave. It gave us the backstory of pretty much Juha Bach, how he was this baby, but it also arose questions like, okay, where did this baby come from? Was he just a regular village baby, or, you know, what's up with that? Also, does that mean that all the Stern Ritter really aren't necessarily Quincy? Did he just brand, like, random humans and then say, yo, you're gonna have these powers? Because pretty much with him branding them, they also got these extra, you know, powers and whatnot. They got hypened up, they got powered up. So it's making me wonder, are they not even real Quincy? That's, you know, another thing. And it will be a fucking sick and twisted display if at the end of, you know, all of this, Juha Bach goes back to some sort of old body that can't do anything. Because if people don't die, he's kind of counting on his people to die. He's probably like looking, okay, I'll set them up because at the end of the day, I need them to die, because the more of those people that have been branded die, the more power that goes back to him. So when James died in Master Masculine, he was just like, well, if they can get some shit done along the way, that's cool. But he really wants most of his people to die as long as it, you know, furthers his quest. And I'm just curious as to, okay, what is his overall underlining goal? Is he just going to keep on having people and branding them and killing them? Like, because, you know, after a certain point, it's like, how does he become whole? What is it? Is Ichigo the final piece of the puzzle for him to become whole, where he doesn't need to keep on depending on pretty much, you know, these marked people to die and give him back power so he could keep on seeing, so he could keep on going and keep on living, basically? That's another thing. It's like, pretty much, what is his end goal? I know he wants to pretty much conquer, you know, Soul Society, and he already fucked it up and everything. So one of his goals of, like, you know, pretty much decimating it has been succeeded. But overall, what is the underlining goal? Does he just want to conquer? Is it just all out of revenge? He wants to make sure no Shinigami is upstanding, eradicated, because he has to, I guess, have a goal of wanting to be whole. Like, he doesn't want to continue to depend on his people dying around him so he could keep on seeing things, so he could keep on hearing things, because that's one of his main things that he needs. So that definitely got me a little bit curious as well, what's his overall underlining goal. But aside from that, it was mainly just a backstory of him and a little bit of hints that Uryu is a marked man at this point. So overall, fine chapter. Not the most exciting, mainly getting some good backstory on him, because getting more information on his characters definitely is important, especially is vital when it's the villain. And also seeing a little bit of a twirl of Uryu's fate, which seemingly is looking grim, is definitely a good context as well as far as what's going on. But as a whole, nothing too exciting. Definitely just giving information. So I give this one 6 out of 10. It was a fine chapter. Definitely just like a information clusterfuck, as well as a little bit of a, like, foreshadowing of what's to come with Uryu's fate. Only other possibility I could see of Uryu not dying is if Juha Bach is defeated before it's Uryu's time to die. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that this means that Uryu is indefinitely going to die at some given point now that he's been marked that he drank the blood of Juha Bach? Also, does this, like, do you think that all the Stern Ritters are aware of this? Do you think that they know that eventually they're going to die, whether it be a year or a few months from now, because of this mark? And do you think that there's any connection for Juha Bach to the Soul King, now that we know that pretty much he gives like pieces of his soul away and then he gets the power back once they die? Do you think that that could be a, coincidence, or is there something more to it? And just your overall thoughts of the chapter. Once again, 6 out of 10, fine stuff. Just mainly a lot of information and a bit of foreshadowing of what's to come. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up if you want to see what's going to go down as far as the next battle, because right now it's kind of like a little bit of a confusing where we're going to go to next. I would like to see a little bit more with this Renji and Rukia now that they came, from the Zero Division, see more of what they could possibly do, because Renji definitely wasn't pushed to his limits, and we really haven't got to see Rukia do anything. I'm really hype about that. Ichigo, hurry up and get back from Snake Way. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.